Hello there, everybody. A very warm welcome to each one of you joining me in today's live episode. I am here, your host for the evening, Sapna Mahadevan, and I would be glad to take you through today's journey. Really an adventurous journey that I could be saying, and we are going to embark on this journey and try to find out how we can be writing an interesting story all by ourselves. Yes, I'm talking about an adventurous journey because the genre under consideration is something which is really intriguing, and it's definitely going to be of a lot of interest to a lot of people. Yes, and let me put out there that the genre that we have for today is a parallel universe. Yes, so as exciting as it may be, just come to think of it, if you come to know that there is a parallel universe which coexists, and events are going to turn out differently in that parallel universe than it does play out here in Earth, then it's going to be really exciting, isn't it? And I'm really thrilled to bits, even while talking about it. So just imagine how your character or the central character of your story is going to feel if they figure out that there is a parallel universe and there are other people or aliens or whatever name you want to give it to them. Yes, all of them inhabiting that particular place. Yes, isn't that going to be really exciting and intriguing all at once? Yes, so that's what is the storyline that we are going to talk about today. And I'm going to give you some essential tips, some plot building pointers on how you can be writing an interesting story all by yourself for your audiences, right? So let's begin our session for today with the introductory fiction story writing masterclass, Unleash the Writer in You. And yes, for today, since it is going to be a compelling sci-fi genre, you need to really spark up your creativity and just maybe think about all the other elements that you would want to introduce into your story if you can think of a parallel universe where there are inhabitants, right? So think of all the possible elements that you can be including in your story, and all of this assimilated together is going to form a beautiful storyline, and it's going to be really a page turner for your audiences, right? So try and make your audiences get absorbed into that story completely, and for that I'm going to give you a lot of tips and tricks today. Yes, and let me also check some of my comment box, some of my messages in the comment box here. There is an interesting handle join me on the live today. Bumblebee 2J800. Wow. So yes, hi there, Bumblebee. Thanks for joining the live. We have Dafia here waving a hello to me, and of course I also have Anand waving me his good evening message out here. A great evening to all of you, and I hope that you all are going to stay tuned in here to this episode to know and understand more about how we can be writing a short story based on a parallel or an alternate universe, right? So, yes, with that, let me get going to our episode here without much ado. And the first segment that we have here is the coming up segment. So, as always, let me tell you what all are the activities that are specially curated for all of my wonderful bunch of viewers here. Coming up first is the essentials and some of the essential tips, which is really going to help you in forming that baseline for your story. And apart from that, I will also be delving into the story plot, ideas for the story plot, maybe, and also pointers on how you can be writing an interesting story plot so that you can keep your audience always absorbed into the story, grab their attention, right? Because these days we know that there are so many mediums of entertainment that we are all consuming we really need to be ace of the game to grab the attention of our audiences, right? So yes, some of the tips and pointers that I will be helping you with in writing an absorbing story. And apart from that, we have the Google it words, we have fill in the words segment, there's a recommendation of the day, there's an icebreaker segment, and questions that will keep popping up every now and then. And finally, at the end of the episode, just like I end each and every episode, I'm going to give you a quick roundup of all the learnings that we have gathered in this episode today. And you can try writing your hand at one of the stories in this genre. Yes. So that's the specially curated activities, gamut of activities that you can really see on the screen right now. And I have Priya and Ram wave hello to me here. Thanks for joining the live. Um, really glad to have a conversation going with all of you. And I just hope that you are as participative as always. Yes. So, SK Imran joining the live here. Good evening, Imran. I am doing great as usual. And thanks a lot for asking. I hope all of you are doing good too. And with that, let us move ahead into the next segment. It is the first icebreaker question for the day. And there it is. What would you prefer to eat? Will that you can see onto the screen here. Quickly, if you can let me know on your preferred choice of candy, I could say toffees or chewing gums. What is it that you would prefer? Quickly in the chat box. I'm waiting for all of your answers. And I think I would love to go for toffees. Yes. Okay, so I get chewing gum there in the chat box here. Toffee and candies as well coming up there. Bumblebee says toffees. Great. So Bumblebee and high five to you there. We both prefer toffees. Yes. Lovely. So I think most of the responses here are toffees. Toffees, it is the clear winner. And let's move ahead to the next segment, right? Imran tells me that he doesn't like both. Okay. Uh, Great. So let's move ahead to our next segment. It is the golden question: what's the genre? So I already told you that it is going to be a genre in sci-fi, right? Science fiction is the genre there. Fictional stories that deal with speculation and a lot of imagination, right? Because these are things which are really not possible in the outside world. And everything that we write in a sci-fi story is going to stem up from the author's imagination, right? So you need to have a wide imagination, think creatively, and have, stir up that spark of creativity in you, and try having a connect with your audiences. Yes. But only point to be noted here is that all of this imagination, whatever it is going to lead into that story there, it's going to be based on a lot of scientific concepts, and that is why it is science fiction, right? So that's the term that we give to this genre here, science fiction, or more popularly known as sci-fi. And with that, let me move ahead to the next icebreaker question. Time for some answers here. Okay, so the next question is about food. And what would you like to spread on your bread, cheese or jam? Or if there is any other option that you would want to go in for, then you can definitely let me know in the chat box there. I think I would love to go with jam maybe, or butter, but not cheese. Yes. A nice, lovely, relaxed morning with my cup of tea and nice buttery toast. Yes, that's my preferred breakfast there. And Bumblebee says jam. Lovely. We have Dafia tell me that she would like to have a cheese of slice. Great. Sorry, a slice of cheese. Yes, Dafia, that's right. And then we have jam come up again there. We also have Nutella come up there. Lovely. So I know we all love our slice of bread, isn't it? Great. So breakfast options coming up here. Imran says he likes spicy food. Great. So Imran, I think, is going to apply chutney to his bread. That's the Indian term that we usually use, right? Okay, with that, I think I'll go ahead. You can keep on writing to me in the chat box. I'm surely going to read out all of your comments. And let me move ahead to the next segment. It is the subgenre of the day. Yes. So let me tell you again, it is alternate universe fiction, which is also popularly known as the parallel universe or an alternate universe, right? And other names that we can have for this genre is parallel dimension, maybe alternate reality, right? So what all of this entails is that there is another possible coexistence in a self-contained plane, maybe. So when I say about another parallel universe there somewhere, yes, who is coexisting with us humans living on the planet Earth, then there are too many questions that we get to our mind, isn't it? So all of these questions, when answered, are going to form a basis for your story, right? So the sum of all parallel potential parallel universes that constitutes reality, it is often also called as multiverse, right? So that's a bit of information here about the parallel universe. Yes, and Imran tells me that he would prefer chutney. Yes. Okay, and great. Okay, so let me again come back on track here and let you know more about what is the genre for the day, right? So, alternate universe fiction, like I told you, is another world that is coexisting with ours. Yes, and we get to know about that in the course of our story, right? And that's how we stir up our imagination and come up with a possible plot for our story. Yes. Now, for some of us, I know that this idea itself of a parallel universe is going to spark some of our wildest dreams, isn't it? And the next question that we would put up is that if there is a parallel universe like this, then who are the inhabitants there? And if all of this is a reality, then how do we travel to that parallel universe to just maybe meet all of the other inhabitants in that parallel universe? Are they going to be friendly, or are they going to be our rivals? Other things that we would want to know is, if we want to understand how we are going to travel, then do we have a spaceship? How is this traveling going to be possible? Is science going to be at a different technological advancement where all of this is going to become plausible? So too many questions raking up our minds, isn't it? And this is what is going to form our basis of the story plot, right? So you can give me a thumbs up in the chat box, maybe comment in the chat box, and let me know if you have a basic understanding of what the parallel universe means, right? And I'm going to wait for some of your answers here before I move away from this screen, which is the subgenre of the day, right? You can give me a simple thumbs up, maybe some kind of an emoji to let me know that you have an understanding of the alternate universe or the parallel universe, whatever name you want to give the subgenre for the day, right? So yes, okay, we have thumbs ups coming up there. Great. Lovely seeing all of those thumbs ups there. And I know this genre was one of the popular genres that our audiences wanted to know about. Yes, so on popular public demand, we are here with this alternate universe story idea today, right? So thanks a lot for all of these emojis there. And let me move ahead to the next icebreaker question. The question that we have here is two options again in food: pizza with pineapple or momos without chutney. We were just talking about chutney, and we have an icebreaker question come up there. Yes. So I think one of them is a weird option: pizza with pineapple. I really can't think about it. And momos without chutney is also one option that doesn't work well, isn't it? Um, Okay, we have another comment here from a handle named Silent Valley, and they say, I think realistic topics would be better learning for kids. Okay, I would disagree. Of course, we have a lot of topics that we have discussed in all of these episodes here. It is, I think, the 158th episode today, if I'm not wrong. And we have different genres that we have dealt with in all of these episodes, so it's a wide array that we have provided to our viewers. We have tried to give in a lot of options in story writing, yes. But one other thing that I would like to point out here is any of these genres, which is totally fictional, which stems up from the author's imagination, is something which really sparks up the creativity in kids, right? And that's what we are looking at. We want our kids to become really creative writers, and all of this creativity can come up only if you start thinking and analyzing things from a different perspective, right? So I think science fiction and all of the other fantasy genres, even everything that comes up from speculation and from imagination, is something that will definitely push our kids to think differently, to analyze differently, and to have a creative streak, right? So yes, I think this is one of the options that you all should start thinking about. Ponder on all of these topics and try writing a short piece, maybe. Maybe a small storyline also will do for starts. Don't get intimidated, but even a small story idea is good to go for the beginning, and then maybe you can keep on refining and practice and fine tune your craft, right? So that was one question, or maybe a comment that I had from Silent Valley. And let me see, we have 3G gamers here. Hello there, whosoever is behind that handle. Thanks for joining the live. And yes, Bumblebee says pizza with pineapple. Are you really sure, Bumblebee? Pizza with pineapple? I can't really think about that, but okay, great if you would like to go with that option there. We also have momos with chutney come up there. Dafia gives me that answer here. Then uh, we have Joseph. Tell me again, pizza with pineapple. So pizza is one favorite, isn't it? Lovely. Okay, so thanks a lot again for all of these answers here. And let me quickly move ahead to the next segment. It is all about establishing the essentials, right? So let's look at three of the definite elements that we would want to not miss out on while writing an alternate universe fiction. And all of these three elements coming up right there onto the screen. We have the characters, the portal, and also about the alternate world, right? So I'm going to deep dive into each one of these elements here and give you a better understanding of what is it that you can be incorporating in each of these elements here, right? So the first element that we have is the characters. And of course, character is the key element in any story, not only the sci-fi or alternate universe fiction, but of course, in any kind of fiction, characters are really the backbone of your story. And generally, while writing an alternate universe fiction, you can think about a group of friends maybe who travel from one world to another and discover unimaginable things or creatures. They come across different experiences, and that's what makes the story, right? So this is about the characters here. Think about a group of people who have luckily somehow found out about this parallel universe, and they travel to that alternate world. And what they see there, what do they experience there, what are the adventures that they embark upon on that journey, is something that we are going to talk about in our story, yes. And take it from me, sci-fi, alternate world, parallel world, all these are really intriguing subjects. You just need to start thinking about it, and I am sure that you're going to get a lot of different ideas. We also have various movies, books related on this topic, and you can get inspired from all of that as well, right? So the first element that we saw was the characters. And for the second element, let me tell you, it is all about the portal, right? So now what we mean here is that once that parallel universe or the alternate world has been discovered, right? Now think about it. How do you travel to that world, right? Being on planet Earth, there has to be some kind of a medium through which you are going to travel to that other world, yes. For example, if you have seen the famous movie Thor, then that's again a sci-fi movie there. And in Thor, there was a medium of travel there, which was also called the tesseract, and also it was called the cube in the picture. It was a crystalline, cube shaped containment vessel, which made you travel from this world or this universe to the other, right? So come to think of it, you need to have some kind of a spaceship, some kind of a medium by which you travel to that alternate world. And that is one example that we can be giving you here, right? So traveling back and forth needs to be possible, and for that you need a medium. And think about that, that's going to be one of the essential elements while writing an alternate universe fiction, right? Your audiences are really going to be thrilled in knowing how is the central character, or even the group of people, if that's what you're mentioning in your story, then how are they going to travel to that alternate world? So that is also one of the essential items and elements that you're going to deal with in the story, right? And give vivid descriptions to your audience about this vehicle or spaceship, whatever you want to call that, right? And that's again one of the essential elements here. And let me call out Asha B. Arun for the like that she has given me here. Means a lot. Good to see that you are liking these episodes here. And with that, let me move ahead to the third element. The third element, of course, is the alternate world. So we need to have right? So the more intricately that you can imagine details, and the more vibrantly vivid description that you can be giving about your new world, the more it is going to be the heart of your story, right? So in that way, the world you create in your sci-fi novel also reveals something about the point of view, about the narrative that you place in your story, right? So even the most fantastically imagined story, it will have the reflection of the real world questions and problems, right? So that is what we want our audiences to be doing here. Cultivate rich world building, give vivid description of how that parallel universe looks like. Maybe like, just a thought that came to my mind right now. We have gravity here in the universe. Whatever you throw into the air, it's going to fall downwards, right? Now, maybe in the parallel universe that we are mentioning about, gravity is missing. Then what happens, right? So there's a whole new perspective to this new universe here, and it is again totally up to you. It is based on you as a creative writer, what you want to showcase to the world. Yes. So think about all of these various elements that will play an important part in the parallel universe, and thereby you can create a wonderful story, right? So that was about the alternate world here, and that's how we had three important elements that we discussed here. The first one was, of course, the character. Then we spoke about the medium of travel, and also the third element was the rich world building of our alternate world. Yes. Now, after this, I'm going to quickly move ahead to the next Google it word, the first one for today, which is compelling. So let me tell you, compelling would mean something which evokes a lot of interest. It garners attention, and it is, if I could say so, it is really powerfully irresistible, right? So that's how compelling your story should be. And your viewers are going to be totally absorbed into that story. They want to quickly find out what's going to happen next. And that's the curiosity that you're going to build up with your audiences, right? So the first word in our Google It segment is compelling. And with that, let me move ahead to the next segment. We have Kuriakos PY. Thanks for that like there. Lovely. Okay. So let's move ahead. We have the next icebreaker question, and it's quite simple. What would you prefer, watching a football match or a cricket match? That's the next question that we have here in our icebreaker segment. And quickly, if you can give me answers in the chat box, it is open for all of your comments. And we have Priya tell me that she really loves the parallel world stories. Yes, I think we all love the sci-fi genre only for the various possibilities, right? We cannot even imagine the array of possibilities, the potentials that we have while writing a story, isn't it? And we are really in awe of how the author comes up with such vivid and wide imagination, right? So that's what intrigues in the sci-fi genre. I think all of us love the sci-fi genre. Bumblebee quickly gives me the answer here in the chat box, and they say football, a football match is the one that they would like to watch. Great. We have football match come up there again. Um, Kavish says cricket match. Bumblebee again, football match is my favorite. Lovely to know that, Bumblebee. Do stay tuned in here. We have a lot of fun segments planned in today's episode. And yes, so Asha Arun says that she would like to watch a cricket match. Let me showcase some of the comments here. Bumblebee says football match. Football match is my favorite. We have Asha say that she would love to have watch a cricket match, and lovely. So okay, so let's move ahead. Now we are moving into the expert tips on establishing the essentials. And quickly now, the first tip here that we have for our audiences is that you can always maybe read old and new sci-fi writers to absorb the interesting ideas that they have, right? And you can also visit your local library, a bookstore maybe, browse on the sci-fi section, grab a copy, read all of the interesting books that you have there to offer, right? And also you can check out all the stories that have been written, watch the sci-fi movies, and get inspired from all the content that we have there, right? So this way you're going to get a lot of idea on how effectively you can be writing in this genre. Yes, that's the first expert tip. That's also going to give you a lot of ideas to start with. And second expert tip that we have here is that you need to definitely stay up to date with the current world news to get real life inspiration, right? So if you plan on writing a sci-fi story that takes place in the future, then you can use events that are currently happening in the world to maybe shape your universe, right? So watch or listen to the news from around the world, get your dose of inspiration, and it could also help you in developing a realistic future, or even something that you can incorporate into your world of your own, right? So that's the second expert tip there. Stay up to date with the current news, and you can try to amalgamate both of these the news that you see with the imagination that you can come up with, and try assimilating both of them and try to write a story all by yourself, right? So that's the second expert tip here. And let me now move ahead to the next segment. It is the Google It word, which is incorporate, right? So let me tell you, incorporate would mean maybe to include or to integrate some of the ideas, right? That's the word incorporate. It would go in correctly with include. Yes. So that's how you can incorporate some of the ideas or include them, assimilate them. These are some of the synonyms for the word incorporate. Check out that word in Google, or maybe more traditionally in a dictionary, come up with the interpretation. And do not forget to jot that word down in your fancy Google It journal, right? So I love to call that a fancy Google It journal, because you can get as creative as you want to be, right? So maybe maintain a journal, a diary of all of these words that we come up with in the episodes. And I'm sure that it's going to become like a ready reckoner, and you can keep checking out on all of those new words that you have jotted down in your Google It journal. And one day you're going to have really good vocabulary words with all of these included into your diary there, right? So that's the aim of the Google It and the synonymous genre that we have in all of these episodes, right? So that's the second word that we have in today's episode. It is incorporate, and it could also mean include or assimilate, right? Now let's move ahead. Let me also check some of the questions here. Bumblebee asking me what is incorporate, and I just now, I think that question came up late here. So I just now mentioned that incorporate would mean include, and you can check out the meaning in a dictionary or in Google, and maybe you can also write to me what it means, yes, after checking the meaning out, right? So yes, let's move ahead to the next segment. The next segment that we have here is an icebreaker question again, and it says, what would you prefer, formal uniforms or PJs or pajamas, right? Do let me know in the chat box here. I think with these online classes and with these, everything happening remotely, I think we are really forgetting our formal uniforms day by day. Yes. So let me see what are your thoughts on this and what is the answer that I get here in the chat box. Formal uniforms or PJs? That's the question here. Bumblebee says formal uniforms. Lovely. Okay, and then yes, did that go away? Yes. Okay, Asha Arun also says formal uniforms. Great. So I think yes, formal uniforms is another one coming up there. Relaxed outfit, PJs. That's also one of the responses. So a mixed bag of response there. And let's get going to the next segment. We have the movie title trivia come up next. So that is again a fun segment, curated specially for all of you. And here, what you need to do is maybe check the pictures that I'm going to show you, and try to guess these popular alternate universe based sci-fi movie titles, right? So that's the first picture that I'm going to show you here. There it is. Quickly in the chat box, if you can give me a guess of what that picture or what is the name of that movie. It's an interesting movie there, related to science fiction. And yes, that is correct. It is the right answer. It is, of course, Doctor Strange. So let me showcase that answer there. It is Doctor Strange. And moving ahead to the second picture of the day, there it is. Okay, that's an interesting movie there. Do let me know what's the name of the movie if you can guess that correctly in the chat box. Bumblebee, I'm sorry, it's not Superman. Unfortunately, that's an incorrect answer. And the name of this movie here, let me tell you. Where are we? Okay, here it is. The name of this movie is Five Children and It, right? Moving ahead to the third one, there it is. We had a strange looking character there, isn't it? Okay, so the next movie coming out here. Can you guess this popular movie? We also see a vehicle there, a portal, a medium of travel. Okay, let me see for some of the answers. Let me tell you that this is Spy Kids 3 Game Over, right? That's the name of that movie there. No correct guesses coming up here. Star Wars is not the correct answer. Sukleen Oberoi, hi there. Thanks for joining the live. We are playing the movie title trivia. And yes, let's move ahead to the next picture quickly. There it is. Okay, so the name of this movie, another interesting parallel universe movie. And let me see if I have answers come up here. Okay, so yes, that's the correct answer. Josh gives me the correct answer here. It is Another Earth. And yes, now we have two more to go today. And this is the next one coming up. The name of this movie, maybe quickly in the chat box. Um, Waiting for your answers. That is correct. It is The Golden Compass. And now brace yourselves. It's the last one for the day. And I'm amazed with all the answers that you're giving me. Here is the next one. Interesting one again. You can also let me know if you have watched any movies around the parallel universe. And that's the correct answer again. Journey 2. With that, we come to the end of the movie title trivia, and it was really fun playing out that segment with all of you. Wonderful bunch of people here. And yes, you can also let me know if you have watched any particular alternate universe movie or sci-fi movie, or even if you have read a story, do let me know in the chat box. So Bumblebee says Journey 2, and that was the correct answer. Thanks a lot for that. With that, I'm going to move ahead to the next segment. It is the plotting the plot. So, again, three important elements that we would like to cover here. First one is exploring the world. Then, of course, the trouble, the hardships that we are going to face while we are on that adventurous journey. And then finally, the climax of the story, which is the way out, right? So, that's quite easy to comprehend. Now, let me tell you what you can be writing in those elements here. First one is exploring the world. And of course, this is going to be the most interesting and adventurous part. The travelers are going to explore a new territory. They are going to be really thrilled, overjoyed to find out or to discover that new parallel universe. And of course, there's going to be a lot of drama that's going to happen in this particular segment while they are exploring the new world. There are, of course, going to be strange elements or creatures that they are going to discover. So you can talk about their lively experiences. You can talk about all the creatures that they come across, and how those creatures inhabit that particular parallel universe, right? So many things that we can be talking about in exploring the world. And then the second element that we have here, um, my screen is taking a little bit of a time to go ahead, I think. Yes, there it is. So the second element that we have here is the trouble or the hardships that the characters are going to face. There are a lot of threats that they are going to face from unfamiliar elements, and all of these threats are going to be, in a way, they are going to be inevitable. Their lives are at stake. There's high risk. Dangers pave in their ways, and they strive to find a way out, right? So this is the part that is going to explore their struggle. You're going to talk about how determined and how strong-willed your characters are to come out of that hardship there. And the third segment is going to be the way out, which is the finale of your story there. It's going to be the end part where the characters accomplish the common goal or the task that has been assigned to them, and they come out with flying colors, right? So they try and find a way out to reach to their native world, and they have a lot of stories and a lot of beautiful memories that they take back along with them, right? So they are going to, of course, reminisce about all of these memories that they have made in that parallel universe. It's going to be really tough for them to come out of that universe there unharmed, and to also accomplish the task with the mission with which they had set out on this journey, right? So that's going to be the way out here. It's going to be really interesting to observe how the creative writer in you forms that finale, the climax of the story. Your readers are also going to be totally engrossed in finding out what happens in the ending, and give them the satisfying ending, right? So this was the plot building pointer. Again, pointers which you have to focus on to build up that beautiful story of yours. And then now, moving ahead to the next Google it word that we have here, it is flying colors, right? So let me tell you, flying colors would mean something that you do and you're successful in it, right? So that's the meaning of the term flying colors. It's a phrase, and also a popular idiom of the English language, and it's used to describe how well someone has completed a task, right? So if you are really successful in achieving something, then you can, instead of saying successful, instead of saying I accomplished the task, you can say I came out with flying colors, right? So that's an impressive way of saying that you passed, or you attained success, right? So that's the phrase or the idiom that we have here, flying colors. Check out that idiom there and try using it. It's going to really form an impression, right? So with that Google it word there, let's move ahead to the expert tip in plotting the plot. The first expert tip that we have here, that is that sci-fi can be really a compelling genre, and you need to come up with the accurate and plausible set of rules, right? So these set of rules that you mention in the beginning of the story itself, these need to be, they have to have a reasonable logic attached to it. And you can, of course, it's going to change the stakes for your characters or your readers once you establish a certain set of rules. Always remember that you do not break it. You need to follow the rules that you have set in your story, so that you do not baffle your audiences, right? They need to have a clear understanding of all the rules that you have set for the parallel universe. Like, rules will mean even the simplest of things, like how your parallel universe runs, maybe. So whatever is it that you are going to talk about in the parallel universe, how it functions, who are the people who inhabit that particular world, all of those rules that you're going to set, you need to try and maintain those set of rules all throughout the story, and try not to break it, because that's really going to baffle your audiences. It's going to confuse them. Yes. So make all of those illusions believable in that compelling world of yours. That's the first expert tip. And now for the second expert tip, what you can think of is keep all of this setting that we are talking about grounded in reality, right? So any of the technological or the fantastical element that you're going to talk about in your sci-fi genre, that's going to be rooted in the what the current species can achieve, or maybe they are on a road to its possibility. Yes, it should not be something that cannot really be attainable at all, right? So keep it grounded in reality, keep it a lot believable for your audiences. Yes. And now we move ahead to the next Google it word here, which is fantastical, right? Now, I want all of you to Google up that word there, fantastical, come up with the meaning, check how you can be using the word fantastical in a sentence. And you can also write down the meaning here in the chat box, maybe. But I want you all to do that exercise and jot that word down in your Google It journal. Yes. So that's the last word that we have for our episode for today, the last Google It word for our segment here, which is fantastical. And do check out what that word means, right? I think most of you would already know the meaning there, but you can definitely check out the meaning and jot that word down in your Google It journal. Yes. Now, with that, I'm going to move ahead to the next segment. It is the fill in the words segment. And what you can be doing here is complete the word in 1 minute, right? So all the words are related to the lesson. There's going to be a fill in the blank. So all of the letters or alphabets are not mentioned here. And try and give me the full word in the chat box, right? So all of these words are related to the episode of today, alternate parallel universe. And this is the first word that we have. Think of what that word can be. And I'm going to wait for your answers here in the chat box. We have Simran Shahi say hello there. A big hello to you, Simran. I come live every day at 6 p.m. India time, and we discuss the fiction story writing masterclass, how we can be, transforming ourselves into creative writers. Yes. So you can join every day at 6 p.m. India time. And now this is the last segment playing out here. It is fill in the blanks. I don't see any answers coming up here. Think of all the words that we had in our segment today. It is one of those words associated with the genre that we spoke about today. And yes, that is correct. It is, of course, parallel, right? That's the word there, parallel. Mahi gives me the correct answer. And let's move ahead to the next segment. There it is. What is this word here? Can you think about that word? Total is not the word. It looks like, but this is not a 5-letter word. It's a 6-letter word. So what's the word? So I'm going to give out that word here. It is portal. So that means we spoke about it in the essentials, medium of travel to the alternate world that you need to think about for your story, right? And yes, Bumblebee giving me the correct answer. Portal is the right answer. Thanks a lot for that. Bumblebee has given me so many answers here. Portal. I know it's the fourth time that they are typing the answer out, but I think I got the message a bit late. Okay, so portal is the correct answer. Thanks a lot for that. And let's move ahead to the last word that we have in today's episode. There it is. What is this word? Can you make out the word here? Something related to travel. And yes, that is correct. It is traveler. That's the correct word. Glad that you could make out that word here. Traveler is correct. Nandu, Saena giving me traveler here. That is correct. Asha also saying traveler. Great. Thanks for that response there. That's the early bird response that you've given me. Bumblebee also says traveler. Great. Lovely. Lovely to have all of the answers here in the chat box. And with that, we come to the end of our fill in the words segment. And the next segment that we have here is the recommendation of the day. It's a movie by the name Thor, and that is one recommendation. It's again a sci-fi movie, and watch out for that movie there. Have an interesting time. That's one recommendation of the day from us to you. And with that, we come to the end of our episode for today. And before I leave you and end this broadcast here today, I would like to give you a quick roundup of all the learnings that we have that we had in today's episode, and quickly maybe refresh you with all the essentials and the plot building pointers. So first things first, we had the essentials, and these are three elements here: the characters, the portal, and the alternate world, right? So these are all of the elements that we are going to think about and focus on while writing a sci-fi parallel universe fiction. And then the plot building pointers, we saw how we can do a rich world building, talk about the adventurous journey that the protagonist or the central characters are going to embark upon, what all they experience in that adventurous journey is what is going to form a part of our exploring the world, right? And then we are also going to talk about the hardships, the inevitable threats that these characters face in that unknown territory. And finally, how do they come out with flying colors is something that our audiences would be really anxious to know about, right? So that's the at a glance segment. And for the project work, I would strongly encourage each one of you to be doing this. Implement all that you have learned today and draft your very first alternate universe sci-fi story. Yes, with that, we come to the end of the episode for today. And for tomorrow, I would be back again at 6 p.m. India time with comedy. That's the genre for tomorrow. We are going to have a laughter riot together. And I want all of you to take good care of yourselves until the time we meet next tomorrow. You can write out your questions if you have any in the chat box. I would definitely be addressing all of those questions there to the best of my abilities. And yes, so let's call it a day. Um, Thanks a lot for joining in and being a participative audience here. I am Sapna Mahadevan signing out for today. Have a fun time, keep smiling, and stay happy. Bye bye.